What will you experience at a Knock 'em Dead comedy murder mystery show? Suspense, excitement, love, more love, violence. Well, not really. And of course, some music. Knock 'em Dead Comedy is the #1 murder mystery troupe, entertaining thousands of people for over 20 years.
You have a great night or what? Good.
Their hilarious murder mystery shows are full of audience interaction from beginning to end that will keep you laughing all night long. Their shows are not to be missed. Knock 'em Dead Comedy's murder mystery themes include a mob show, a redneck wedding, a high school reunion, a family reunion with a luau theme, or your own custom show.
Johnny, you have a good time tonight or what?
Had an awesome time.
All right. You had a great time. KDC, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all right.
Fundraisers, private parties, corporate events, restaurants, and more. Contact Knock 'em Dead Comedy for your event today.
The Knock 'em Dead Comedy Radio Show also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair, from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. So call Two Eagles Auto Body and ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527.
Hi, I'm Danny Bonaducci, and you are watching Govs Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes, this is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent. Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony and Sally on the Knock 'em Dead radio show. They're going to keep knocking 'em dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Hey, Tony, you're not funny. And you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus, and...
3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag, it gets through Buckner, here comes Knight, and the Mets win it!
Hello, Tony. Mookie Wilson here, 1986 Mets. How you doing? Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, that Knock 'em Dead Comedy Radio, man. I miss you. I wish I was still up there, man. But I'll wait till it warm up a little bit, and hopefully this year things will be a little bit better, man. But when we're talking about comedy, hey, the early years of Mets was a lot to laugh about. You had to make a lot of comedy with those guys. Hey, hope to see you guys during the summer, and hopefully you'll get back on the show, man, at some point in time during the course of the year, all right? All right? Yeah, fine. Contact me, man. All right, Tony. Talk to you later.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Knock 'em Dead Comedy Show here on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast on the Twitch channel. Thanks for joining us. Please share the show all over the place. What's the matter?
No, nothing.
Oh. He's trying to figure out where he is because he hasn't been here in a couple of weeks. Andy has returned.
Andy's back. Andy's back.
And his front. Lisa is not making it here today. Our apologies. She just let me know like a half hour ago that she's not going to make it. So we'll miss her, and hopefully we'll get her back here one of these days very soon. But that's all right, because Andy's here.
Yeah.
And feeling... Oh, have you not heard that?
No. What was that?
Because there's a... Andy's reacting to the doorbell that just rang.
Rang. Let's call the whole thing off.
When they built the Giggle Room, they had to push the offices to the back. Mm-hmm. So now they don't have a window. They can't see out.
Oh,
so they have a doorbell and a camera that shows you a ring, the ring thing that tells you who's outside. And there you go. And then they come back and they yell to Larry that who's here.
I love shit like that. I feel like, they always say, oh, you don't want to see how the sausage is made, but...
I love all the ins and outs back here. I love seeing how it all works and how they make the magic.
I feel like most of the jobs that I've ever had in my life are pulling back the curtain jobs. Mm-hmm. Like being a bar back, being a bartender. Military, like all of them are sort of like in their own way pulling the curtain. I'm pulling the curtain back and seeing how the sausage is made, to mix metaphors, which I love to do.
I think it's right in the hallway here. I think it's right next to Larry's office. There is a screen.
Oh, neat.
So if you want to see...
it just goes to show you how focused I am on peeing.
Well, we can't really talk about that too much because then you'll run out of here and pee.
That's true. That's too late.
From there, don't forget the Giggle Room Glory Hole. What?
That's where Fremder puts his penis in the glory hole and we all giggle.
Yeah, I don't get... I mean, I know what a glory hole is, but I don't know, like, the...
That he's saying that the Giggle Room has a glory hole. And so don't forget it.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks for the reminder.
Don't you forget about the glory hole.
Hey!
You did the wrong part.
Yeah, I actually did. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you did. All right. So how was your week? Because you weren't here because you went on vacation.
We did go on vacation last week to Myrtle Beach. We drove, which my wife has no clue as to like distances and things. And I was stationed in North Carolina, used to drive up here and back all the time. But I often would leave on a Friday from base in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and go drive straight to my uncle's house in Thurmont, Maryland.
Okay.
Which is like even with D.C. It's like it's truly central Maryland.
Okay.
And I would stay the night, and then I would drive the next day because the next day. I fucking reversed it. The rest day. So I'm used to the drive, and there are times where I've driven it straight through, where you wake up early and you go for it.
Oh, yeah.
But my wife was like, wow, that was really far. She's like, I didn't realize. I said, I kind of explained it to you, that it was going to be a little painful. But we stopped in Richmond on the way down because I have a cousin who lives in Richmond, and to meet her boyfriend for the first time, very cool dude. I've only met 2 other of her boyfriends, and those guys were douches. So this was cool to see him. And it's funny because my family with fucking names, my mother and my stepfather, they're like, yeah, I think his name is Andy. His name's fucking Dylan. It's got a lot of the same letters. They share a lot of the same letters. But there's no L in
2 syllables.
If my name was Andley, I would understand, actually.
Right.
Their fucking, what is that called?
The association.
No. It's where you screw up
I know. I know. I'm just. I don't know the word. I was just trying to. Just.
God damn it.
I'm sorry.
Because I was like word dysmorphia, essentially. So yeah, and so when I saw them, they're like, oh, yeah. What do you call it? How's Andy? Is he nice? And I'm like, his name is fucking Dylan. and I look at them. You ever see the movie The House Bunny? It's with Anna Faris, and she plays a playmate or bunny who lives at the house at the mansion.
She got naked?
No, I don't think so. But she gets a job. For some reason, she can't live there anymore. So she gets a job being a house mom for a sorority of like the rejects, and they all have like glasses and ponytails, so they're not hot yet. And she like makes them hot, but it's actually a very charming movie. I really do like it. Check it out sometime. But she plays this like complete, ditz, but she has one thing that's fucking amazing. It's how to remember people's names. And she'll meet him. She'll be like, "Hey, this is Tony," and she'll go, "Tony." like she'll do that with anyway. Andy, and they add like what do you do? And she's like, "Oh, I read an article once where if you say a name differently, it'll stick out in your head and you'll remember their names." And it really does work. My wife and I, if we don't remember somebody's name, it's like, "Oh, their name was Charlie." Like we'll do that to each other.
Well, Lisa, who was here last week, who's going to be here today, she has this talent where she can take a word and say it backwards. Like as soon as she hears the word.
We're calling that a talent?
We're calling that a talent.
How is it used?
What do you mean?
Like how can you, like a talent is something that's like beneficial, like.
Oh yeah, because it makes me laugh.
Oh.
So, but that's what she does, and in fact, I had her say your name on the show last week backwards.
Sonia Galp.
Yeah. But you're used to it. You've been saying it. She can take any word. She'd be like, "Give me a word right now." As soon as you say it, boom, she comes right out.
Right.
And but I'm bringing it up because that's her way of remembering a name.
Oh.
I guess could be.
But yeah, that's so Dylan. Great guy.
Okay, so Dylan was a good guy.
And then we went down, and the thing is, I was telling you, there was a race at Richmond Super Speedway, and so we had to, there were no hotels on the way down. We just thought we'd stop at a roadside place, whatever. We ended up going past my old stomping grounds of Goldsboro. Couldn't get a room there because there was only one room, but it smelled like bug spray. And so we ended up in Kinston, which it was also sad. I really wish that it was like during tobacco growing season, because it's that place is amazing when it's tobacco growing season. The smell, because it's the good smell of tobacco without the burn kind of thing. Okay. And you're driving on the highway, you have the windows down. It's like it just smells very, very good.
Who's that?
I don't know. But we stopped at this terrible roadside place. Next day we went to. She was with Larry.
Oh, that's a woman?
Yeah.
Oh, so it is. She's with Larry? Okay.
So,
because she just stopped. She was just standing there, so I didn't know what was going on. Oh, now I see it's a woman. Okay, I saw from the back.
It's like one of these little lap dogs that suddenly thinks they were watchdog.
Well, no, because they don't like me keeping that back door open.
Oh, right.
So I always feel responsible.
You're like, I'm just used to keeping my back door open.
Speaking of Bosie, there he is. I like the part where she has to say their name in a certain way so she can remember. All right. Mr. Poppentwist says his son's name is Dylan.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how often he calls him Andy.
But, yeah, so we went down there. We had a good enough time. Yeah, we got one night we ordered pizza and wings. The girls did not have the wings. Beck and we ordered 20 wings. I probably had 15. She had 5. And the next day we were vomiting. So that was...
Which explains why you weren't here on Friday. Now, so if you weren't sick, were you planning on coming in?
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. No,
okay.
I was like, okay. Well, my wife kept on this whole fucking thing about being like, well, we'll drive until we can't drive anymore, and then we'll stop. And whatnot. And I'm like, that'll...
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you.
Fuck up my next day.
When you first started your story, you were saying your wife, doesn't really, you tried to explain to her the length of time it'll take to drive. So
what was the issue then? She was started to drive and she's like, holy shit, how much longer or something? Or?
Well, we started to drive.
Or did you start late because she didn't really get it?
We did start late. We started at 11:30 because, well, actually noon because my daughters had art class. So
that's a rough time to leave.
It actually wasn't that bad. We were flying and we got to Richmond pretty much exactly when we thought we would, like 8 o'clock at night. So, like we knew we were going to be there between 7 and 8, and we stopped a couple of times. So 8 o'clock, we nailed it, like exactly the time that it would take.
Okay.
But then it was that, because we were like, my cousin was like, oh, why don't you stay with us? And we were like, no, it's no big deal. And because none of us knew there was a race.
Right.
And then it just got into like, you're going the other half of Virginia. And it's like, it starts getting...
Southern.
Well, not just Southern, desperate. Because it's late. Like, we stopped there for like 3 hours. We left there like 10:30, 11 o'clock. And we're like, oh, we'll drive for like an hour or two. Stop. We didn't end up, because Kinston, we got to Kinston at about 3:15. There were just nowhere to sleep.
Right,
there was nowhere.
Wow.
Now I get Mary and Joseph. No room at the inn. I love that. I've always loved the no room at the inn. No room at the inn. Got this lovely manger out back. It's a lot of animal shit, but
it's all right.
You can have a baby there, I guess, if you don't want it to die from whatever infections is in the feces of all those fucking animals. It's like you knew Jesus was the Son of God because
he survived animal feces.
Just like a fucking river of shit, really.
River of shit.
I go walking in my dreams. It's a Long Island show, guys. We're required to add Billy Joel content at some point.
Yeah, especially when it's Hicksville related.
Way to force it in there.
Well,
Tony.
Well, and again, speaking of Bozy.
But yeah, I had a show that we got back late Thursday. I did not come in here because I knew it was after midnight we got home. And then the next day I had a show at 6 in Huntington for Brandon, actually.
Yep.
And then Billy needed people for a show he was doing in the Cité.
So you did Brandon's show in Huntington.
And then I shot down to fucking. I was only able to hang out for 15 minutes at Billy's house before we jumped in the.
That's a long night, especially when you're still and you weren't 100%.
I wasn't 100%, and I asked. I had actually asked Brandon if I could go up first or whatever. Carla was there, and Carla didn't want to go. I don't know if she didn't want to go up first. But I just asked to be up early, and so I would be able to make it. And yeah, if I had gone any other spot, I probably wouldn't have made it. So.
Well, speaking of Brandon, he's got the broken mic going on.
That was last night, I'm sure.
Last night. And then this coming Thursday, I'm going to be one of the judges.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that.
You get to run into some people that I don't think that you normally run into.
Which is one of the reasons I'm looking forward to it, because there's a lot of names that I'm sure I've heard that'll probably be there, much like Travis Grant, who came in last week and came in this week and then started his show with Hugh yesterday. I've been hearing his name for years and not even in the same room. I've never, ever met this guy as long as I've been hearing his name.
That's why there was a female comic that I met at, we talked about this a while back off camera.
Okay.
Who was like, I was like, hey, finally I put a face to the name, or I don't know if I had met you or whatever, and she's like, yeah, I don't know who you are at all.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, shut the fuck up. And it's not that but my name is out, is out there.
Right.
It gets thrown around here and there.
Yes, it does.
Not that, I'm not saying, it's no Mike Keegan, but you can't also be sort of at the same level that I'm at.
Right.
We're all sort of around. We all know each other's names because we're all on these shows and we go, that person's not even fucking funny. I should be on that show. Like that's. So you have to know my name at least from that. Oh Jesus, you're right. I didn't realize you.
You didn't even notice I was wearing it. This was the free one.
Right. Well, yeah.
The blue one I had to buy.
Sorry.
Fremder sounds. Wait a minute. In the middle of the night, I go wiping in my sleep. I never have to ask to get up early. I just always am. Oh.
All right.
So you weren't feeling good.
I was dehydrated when I got out of the car in the city. As I was telling you, I was shaking. I was so
crazy.
cold because I was so dehydrated. I thought I had hydrated myself, but nope.
Right. Nope.
I mean, we also smoked a lot of weed that night.
Well, that might have something to do with it too. Fremder's now trying to explain his jokes.
Yeah. Oh, good. That'll make them funnier.
Well, you never know. I mean, we were actually just talking yesterday about Michael Lee the joke explainer.
That's different. He had a whole system.
Yes, he had a.
That's what was the funny part.
What was it? A 21-point system?
Dude, it was that was hilarious.
I do miss that guy. Yeah, I did try reaching out to him about 2 months ago. No response. Prick. So I watched, which I don't know, maybe you'll make fun of me, but I was interested for some reason. I watched this new Brooke Shields documentary. It's coming out of my mouth. I'm like,
why do I come here every week?
As it's coming out of my mouth, I'm like,
literally
why?
don't know why I'm here. Have you learned nothing? No. Okay. No, I mean you're actually you're part of our generation. Had like Brooke Shields was the it girl.
Oh, absolutely.
Like she was waning when I was like some of my early like nobody gets between me and my
Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein's or Vidal Sassoon's.
Yeah,
I can't really remember.
You know, I just watched this thing last night and they showed
Jordache. She wasn't she Jordache?
No, actually, I
Or
think
was
it was Calvin Klein.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing comes between me and my Calvins, I believe.
That's
she says.
like I remember kind of that, like some of my earlier memories of like pop culture stuff. So she never really like. I just remember everybody saying Brooke Shields, and it'd be like, well, I don't have like I was still young and didn't have any kind of like feelings like that or whatever. But everybody who was like older than me, they were like super into Brooke Shields. So I get it.
Let me clarify. I mean, I brought it up and I knew it would be funny that and I expected you to make fun of me. But the reason I did watch it, in all seriousness, I wanted to just see how. I wanted to see how they discussed. I mean, she was making movies like Pretty Baby. She was 12, and there's full nudity in this movie of her, and she's making out with Keith Carradine in this movie. The Blue Lagoon. I think she was 15, and she's naked. Like so I wanted to hear her take on that. Like I wanted to hear if she's like, my mother was a ridiculous, drunken moron who I can't believe. And there was none of that. But that was why I watched it. I wanted to hear her take on that kind of stuff because it's so unacceptable now. In my opinion, should have been unacceptable then too.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually why I watched it. Honestly, and even kind of forgetting just how beautiful this girl
Oh God, yeah, no, gorgeous. Like
is still
because what was her sitcom in the 90s?
Oh yeah,
mid 90s. Because Kathy Griffin, that's where I first started hearing Kathy Griffin, and there was somebody else that was on a dude that was an actor that was like you know what it was? Her boss was Judd Nelson. Speaking of Breakfast Club,
right?
So yeah, like I watched a little bit of that, but she's never been culturally significant.
Susan,
to me.
something with something.
There was a great in South Park movie. There's this great the two Canadian characters, Terrence and Phillip, are on Conan O'Brien, and Brooke Shields is the other guest, and they're talking about farting, and the Brooke Shields character goes, "I farted one time on the set of Blue Lagoon," and Terrence turns to her and just slaps her. It was fucking hilarious. But then Conan has turned them into the U.S. government. Like, Conan, we laughed. Sorry, that's one of my favorite scenes from that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Suddenly Susan, says Mr. Pop and Twist.
Thank you. There you go.
Thank you, Derek. Yeah, Suddenly Susan.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Pop and Twist, if I may.
Of course.
I would not have been piling on yesterday when you guys were talking about when I had written that young people should not be held hostage to all the pop culture that came before them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's like, oh, if he was here, it would be 3-on-1. Actually, no, I would have been absolutely on Brandon's.
Well, that was, and I agree, you would have. But that's where I was coming from. We weren't like judging him for not knowing.
No, absolutely. But it's that, and
I wasn't expecting him to know that stuff either. I was just having fun with it.
Right, the nostalgia thing,
right?
Like what you guys ended up talking. Like it is something that I'm constantly trying to check myself on, because I'm like, listen, the way I grew up was not great. So if I'm saying that somebody should grow up the way that I grew up, I'm saying they should grow up not a great way. It's like the whole math thing. It's like, we learned math a different way. Yeah, how are you with that? You're fucking you are fucking terrible at math. And you insist, you're like, oh, new math. Oh, why do they have to learn it differently? Because you're an idiot. You're an idiot. That's why you have to change things. Like, it wasn't working, therefore we need to change it. It is not difficult.
I agree 100%. I just didn't like the way it was rolled out. Talking about the math.
Well, when you talk about specific,
yes.
Fast, right? It should have been. There should have been this rolling, kind of thing.
Exactly.
And at no point should any teacher's performance be attached to these scores. And then you would have tests that mean something.
Right.
But like that's the new math. Fuck you. Fuck you, you fucking idiots. Anybody who's ever said that about like new math, and you know who you are, you know you've said it, so it's not like in a conversation that you're going to be like, oh no, I wasn't like that. I just don't like. I'm uncomfortable with it. Shut up. If you've ever fucking said, oh, I can't believe they're teaching it differently. You are part of the problem. You're an idiot. Anyway, go on.
Well,
sorry,
that was fantastic.
That's been sitting with me. You know that I've talked to you about
absolutely,
this.
Yes. Before. But that's the same. I've heard plenty of people like growing up. I would say from my teens to maybe my definitely through my 20s, would be having conversations with whether it's uncles or aunts, just people who are older than me,
right?
Where they would talk about stuff like that, and they, we drank from the hydrant. We drank the hydrant water, and we're fine.
Yeah,
it's like, no, wait a minute. You have diabetes. Right. You have, you have a twitch.
And not only that, but like, hey, the ones who didn't survive aren't here to talk about it.
Right.
Like, how stupid do you have to be? Oh, we didn't wear helmets. Yeah. And there were a lot of fucking traumatic brain injuries. I don't know if anybody else. There was a kid, actually, and it was a baseball injury, where this kid was catching, and this other kid followed through and was off balance and whacked the other kid in the back of the head with the fucking bat.
Right, because those days,
fucked him up.
Right, those days, the catcher helmets
wasn't even wearing a helmet because it was a pickup game
Oh.
So he's catching and he's not even that close necessarily, but this kid was so off balance, and that guy still, I see him around my town, and I'm like,
oh, he was never the same?
No.
Oh, wow.
He really got fucked up from that. His whole life changed. Yeah, fuck helmets. Kids are pussies.
You're
an idiot.
When I lived with my grandmother from when I was born until I was 12, and I'll never forget, I was sitting on the front lawn, just sitting there by myself, hanging out. I was probably 10, give or take. And this guy was riding his bike, and one of our neighbors who lived down the block, their dog got loose and started running after this guy on the bicycle. I don't know who this guy on the bike was, but he's not, and the dog is like running around the bike and stuff. So he's yelling at this dog why he didn't I guess he didn't want to slow up because he felt the dog was going to bite him. Mm-hmm. So he was trying to get past him. right in front of me. I mean, this thing was like 10 feet away from me. The dog gets right in front of the bike, so he slams on his brakes. The back tire comes up, face plants right there on the street, right in front of me. I mean, blood spurts fly. I mean, this guy smashed his face, and I can still see it like it was 5 minutes ago. And I remember like once I think I don't know if I screamed, but I definitely had a.
Oh, you screamed.
Probably like a little girl, yeah. Ah! And then I ran in and got a cloth and some ice. But same thing. I don't know if a helmet would have saved him because he smashed his face.
It probably
but still,
have helped.
But whenever this subject comes up, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is watching this guy just.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. You survived. Great.
Right.
Great. Good for you. I wish you had hurt yourself. Like anybody who spouts that kind of nonsense, they're idiots. It's kind of like the people who now say, because they're the same fucking people, who are like, these kids with these phones, and then you're like, right, yeah, I agree with you, but doesn't your kid have a phone?
Right.
Yeah, but you can't keep them from bullshit. Like you are not, you spineless fuck. Like you're acting like you grew up in this tough era, but you can't even stand up to your own fucking kid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you pussy. Like, how do you not like stop and say no?
Right.
Dude, my mother was a total bitch to us. Like about shit that shouldn't have been even I don't even know. Like I can't even. She's just like what an orgasm. We need to talk about this more often.
I didn't mean to spark.
No, because it's just been. You know what? I had to sit in that fucking car, I guess, the entire time and just look
but
at.
You've been home a week
these
now.
Fucking people. I know, but it doesn't feel like
you fucking people.
Here's something that happened. We were walking on the boardwalk, and it was the day that it was the morning. I was starting not to feel good, and we walked down. It was the day we were going to buy souvenirs, and we ended up not buying souvenirs for anybody. That were cheap. But we went down as we're walking. There's this guy. He had a hat on. He had his shirt off. He was like glistening, like old dude, fucking just like he's tan and he's just like glistening, but he's definitely a white dude. And he's like, I was wearing my Ramones t-shirt, which is always, it makes me a target. Like any band t-shirt makes you a target for like name through. Like young people especially have to deal with this, where it's like Nirvana. My daughter and I have a running joke about the Nirvana. Like, name 3 of their songs. And so we've worked on 3 Nirvana songs for her to have on tap if she ever has to fucking deal with some asshole who's like, you don't even know the band.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. like, yeah, you and your Led Zeppelin t-shirt you were rocking in high school. I'm sure that was different. That was, you were
cool.
The band had been broken up for 20 years at that time. That people were in when I was in high school, 20 years, and you're wearing a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. Fuck you. But anyway, I digress. Ramones t-shirt. Sweaty fucking old Southern dude. He goes, let me ask you a question. And I actually kind of, because Charlotte and I were walking, and this guy's like walking this way. He goes, let me ask you a question. I actually kind of stepped towards him and I went, no.
You actually said that?
Yeah. Charlotte was dying laughing. And I go, no. And he goes, well, I just want to ask you a question. I'm like, well, there's still Google in the internet, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I have enough time to say all of this as we're walking. And he goes, but I just wanted to ask you, who was the song? I'm like, you'll figure it out. He's like, I wanted you to tell me. I'm like, what about me makes you think I want to have a fucking conversation with you while I'm walking in the opposite fucking direction with my family? Why would you think that I would want to have this fucking conversation with you? Fuck off. Like, my wife and I'd say this all the time. There's something about us that, like, everybody's like we're standing on a line. Like, my favorite is the one that I always point out is they were retiring Trottier's number finally, right? This because it had been such a long time. They had retired a bunch. they had retired a bunch of them, and it had been a big thing about Trottier not getting along with the different ownerships and
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So finally, here it was, and it was a Red Wing. They were actually playing the Red Wings, and but I was coming home from my brother's wedding. It was going to be the next weekend. This was a Saturday, and I'd done that thing where I'd driven to my uncle's house Friday. Saturday, I drove straight to the Coliseum because the game was like a 1:00 game. So I go to the game, and I'm standing in this line waiting for the thing to open, waiting for the Coliseum to open up, and anybody who wanted to walk that way would do it right in front of me. They do. This is everywhere I go.
Yeah.
People, there's something. My wife, it's empirically true, because she's like, there's something about us like that. Are we just like we don't count, or something? And even the people behind me, I started kind of joking, like I'm like, you notice everybody, and they're like, hey, try where. Well, I'll leave. The guy right behind me is like, go right up behind the dude in front of you, and I'll leave a space, and let's see what happens. And yeah, excuse me.
Oh, they still wanted to get in front of you?
And I turn and look at the guy, and he's like, I was pretty sure that was going to fucking work.
That's a cool experiment.
Yeah.
I got to try that.
Except everybody. And so I'm like, I'm just going to leave this space so I don't have to actually talk to anybody. Excuse me, I need to get me and my stroller and 8 kids through here. It's a huge fucking paved surface. Go around, you assholes. But anyway, again, I digress. People just think that they can. Like, I don't know if it's something nice about me or something, like or like that guy wanted to like test my knowledge. Fuck you.
He didn't want to test your knowledge. He's just a friendly guy who just figured he'd strike up a conversation about your shirt.
You're that fucking guy, aren't you?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. No, I don't know if I would ask a question. I'd probably just say, cool shirt, and keep going. And then if he decides to keep talking, I'll definitely stop.
And that's acceptable, because I can't really say anything to that, so I have to eat that.
And then that would make you nuts.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he didn't have his shirt on. If he had said nice shirt, I would be like, I can't say the same thing.
Say nice tits.
He did not have nice tits. He's an older man.
But when I'm waiting online, because it happens to me a lot too. So that's why I totally relate to what you said. It happens to me all the time. People just
it happens to everybody.
But I don't care. I'm not going anywhere. It's not screwing up the line. What's the difference?
Because I've been.
They're not cutting me.
I've been in situations where it is like we're packed in or something like that, and it's like, are you serious? You're gonna fucking go here?
Oh, that's different. If you're like really packed and you have nowhere to go, that's
anything in
right,
that in the wide range of like being in line or standing somewhere. Like I swear, people and the crazy people like, people go, oh, the crazy person always comes to me. No, the crazy person always comes to me. There is something
I love that stuff
about me. No, because I've been in too many situations where it's actually dangerous. Like where the crazy person coming up to me is like, oh great, I'm either in a fight right now,
right,
or I'm gonna have to like really do some mental gymnastics on this person to get the fuck out of this like because of the and there's always that moment.
Yep, I was when I was working for the phone company, the guy I was working with, we were in the truck together, and we were on our way to the job site. And we had to stop. He had bad allergies. He was sneezing like crazy as we're going to the job site. He's like, look, do you mind if I stop really quick and pick up, some over the counter or something that I can take? I'm like, yeah, I don't care. So I'm sitting in the truck. He goes in and gets it, comes back, and as he's opening the package, this woman walks over to the truck, and he was driving. She's on his side, and it was a day like today, beautiful day here on Long Island, by the way. So it was a day much like today. We both had our windows down and stuff. So she comes walking up, and she goes, "Excuse me, can I ask you a question?" And usually it's especially back then, my phone line doesn't work. Like usually it's a question. We're like, "Yeah, sure, what's up?" But she goes, "Do you know Frankie Avalon?" And of course me, and I'm thinking the singer, the actor, Frankie Avalon. My partner who was in the truck with me, he goes, "No, what department does he work in?" So I go, no. I think she's talking about the singer. And she goes, yeah, I'm talking about the singer. He goes, oh, yeah, of course. You're right. Yeah, I know who that is. She looks right at, she actually leaned in a little bit. She goes, I love him. just like that. And he goes, my partner goes, what? She goes, I love him. So I'm already laughing my ass off at this point. Like, it took 2 seconds, and I'm laughing. But then she goes, tell me I don't. And that's when I started to stop laughing.
Kind of hot. It's a chick.
So, again, yeah.
I usually just get violent dudes.
Well, I get those too. But and he's like, so now, again, my partner's like, what? She goes, tell me I don't. He goes, why would I tell you that? She goes, I love him. He goes, okay. She goes, how do you know I don't? And she just kept repeating it and getting louder and louder. Finally, my partner just had enough. He goes, look, lady, if you love Frankie Avalon, you love Frankie Avalon. I don't fucking care. Like that. Now I'm laughing all over again, right? Her eyes, then her eyes get wide. She goes, I love him. And she takes 2 steps back. And usually when somebody takes 2 steps back, they're going to come at you. Or my partner, because like I said, she was on his side. He reached and he grabbed my arm and just he squeezed it because he thought the same thing. He thought she was about to start shooting. She takes 2 steps back. Her eyes get wide. All of a sudden, she goes, okay, thank you. And she walked away. And we watched her. It was a big shopping center. She walked throughout the shopping center, and she walked on the sidewalk and went over the Wanto Parkway of Southern State. And then, like, we watched her until she was out of our sights. We were so freaked out. We wanted to make sure she was gone. It had to be at least a quarter of a mile that we watched her walk. But then I laughed my ass off for hours. See, I love that stuff. That's exactly why I love this stuff. Because you can either people watch and just make fun of the way they look, or you get a great story.
No, see, like, I feel like I'm allowed to have a fucking day where people don't fucking approach me like that.
I'm sure you've had at least one day.
Yeah, it's when I stay home. Those are those days. Well, anytime I go out. I was at ShopRite a few weeks ago, and it was a nice day because, I mean, this winter was pretty mild to begin with. So I had my windows down, and this guy pulls up next to me and goes, how do you like the F-150? What year is it? And I'm like, all right, 2016, I like it okay. It's just,
you're at a red light.
Okay. It's just a little big. All right, well, it's good to have the windows. You're the only other one with the windows down. We're enjoying this day. I'm like, uh-huh. And we're both in like a the double left turn, and we turn and we pull up to the next light, and we're next to each other again.
So as I was saying,
so nice out. I don't want no more. Shut the fuck up.
Did you say that?
No.
Did you roll up the window?
I didn't, but I'm like, why did I fucking put the goddamn windows down?
Did he get in your way of where you were going?
No.
Did he slow you down between lights?
No.
All right. So what's the problem?
So fuck that guy is what I'm saying. No, like stop. Like
you have a friendly face. Come on.
I don't think I do.
Come on. Look at this. Look at this.
I
want to talk to this guy.
The Riccadonna. I look like some guy who was in. He was in. God damn it! The one with the Durs. It's on Comedy Central, and it was like 3 dudes who lived together, and they worked in an office together. It was hilarious. But apparently, Riccadonna says I look like somebody.
Oh, okay.
That was in that show.
Let's. I believe you had a lot of comments when you went off on your rant there. So, friend, my jokes don't have to be funny. I'm not a comedian, though some comedians I do know aren't even that funny. Ken Pichelle is watching. Hello, Ken Pichelle. Suddenly Susan. Right. Thank you, Derek. Wasn't Suddenly Susan about a transgender? That's pretty funny, friend. I like that one.
Yeah, they could reboot it.
Yeah.
For sure.
But Brooke Shields still looks pretty good. The math. I just meant that you would have been riding the pop culture reference wave. No judgment to Brandon's knowledge. Right. Absolutely. Right. Speaking of nostalgia, says Fremda, the other day I went to go see the Mario Brother movie. I saw someone sitting there dressed like Mario until I realized it was only Andy Plagainos. Andrew and math teacher, which means what? Andrew's a math teacher, which means that whenever he gets constipated, he probably works it out with a pencil.
Actually, I use a calculator.
Ken Pichelle, I disagree with the discarding of teaching I disagree with the discarding of teaching it the old way because some people did learn it just fine the old way. Okay.
Yeah, not enough. Not enough for the mass group, for everybody. And they are still teaching it the old way. They're just teaching new, other ways of looking at it. Like I've been trying to, I don't want to teach my daughters, but I'm trying to like help guide them with like things like equivalent fractions and shit, and being like, no, they are the same thing. I hate the word equivalent when it comes to those fractions because sometimes you may need to play with things and change them around, and it's the same thing. It's just easier to use in a different way.
Well, that's what Derek's saying. I didn't learn math very well when I was learning back in the day. I'm hosed today. I try to help my kids, and it's a lost cause.
Well, see, and I had this idea when I was right when it came out, and it was that I wanted to, whatever district that hired me, I was going to run a class like either once a week or once a month where parents could come.
That would have been a great idea.
And
you could have cashed in on that.
Teach what the math their kids are learning. And that it should be a coordinated effort for the entire math department for the entire district to because my certification's in secondary. So but that the secondary teachers work with the primary teachers, because it's like, we need you to teach this and not give up on it and not talk shit about it to these kids.
Right.
Because that's the real fucking problem. When parents say nobody in my family is good at math.
Right.
Oh, so none of you try. That's great. Thank you for saying that, because math's not genetic.
That math.
It's a way of describing the world around you.
Yeah,
but like that's like what I wanted to have. Like that's what I was going to do. That was going to be my in. I was going to be like, yeah. But my district, and I think a couple others that I've heard, have something that's like that. It's not as robust as I think it should be, but it exists because we need to. The education can't just be for the kids. Something when I was in the Air Force, when I first joined, they were trying to do quality Air Force, where they were introducing business quality, like mindset, and like have us all treat people as customers, and we went to a bunch of briefings on how to do this. And what would happen is you're at the briefing, right? It's like half your squadron is there, and this guy's up there going, quality Air Force. All right, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We go outside. We're all smoking cigarettes, and the chief would be there. And the chief, your entire mindset for your unit comes off of what the chief's mindset is.
My mindset is always about my unit.
We follow what the chief says. That's how we all think. Like enlisted wise, like chief says it, that's fucking gold. Take that to a fucking bank. You go out there, you start smoking a cigarette, and you go, all right, boys, fuck this shit. Don't worry, we'll get back to the fucking flight line and do it the way we're supposed to fucking do it. And you'd be like, okay. And then I remember like that Chief Hardy, who was like, it was like a great uncle to me. And I was like, hey, Chief, like, what happened? I remember the first time I ever met you, you started talking shit about this quality thing. And he goes, well, that's the goddamn problem with these fuckers, Andy. Because they all had filthy fucking mouths. That's a fucking problem with these fuckers, Andy.
Swear, like a sailor.
They didn't get us on board. They needed to just take us aside and really drive it home with us. Because I don't disagree with it, but the shit that they're teaching you, this one-stripe fucking slick sleeve fucking airman walking in, you don't fucking know what you're even doing.
Right.
Forget about like that now you have to apply these like business management principles.
Right.
To like, no, us. Come to the chiefs, come to the senior master sergeants, the master sergeants, and teach us and get us on board with what you want to do. We'll make it happen.
That's exactly my approach when I was a union rep.
This math thing is exactly the same thing. Is that, yes, a bunch of math education professionals like, yes, these are the best standards to teach to. And these are, we need to teach these strategies within this. But then they didn't get like the elementary school teachers and the parents are the two biggest groups that don't fucking get it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And they're just going to be like, well, I learned just fine. No, you didn't. You're an idiot. Your stupidity is saturating the fucking air around you and making it hard to. Okay,
Ken Pichelle actually got sanitized. He wanted to ask who peed in Andy's flakes, cornflakes this morning, but the autocorrect changed peed to owed. Who owed in Andy's cornflakes this morning?
I'm a man of class. I had a fucking croissant. Fucking cornflakes. And me, I peed in my own croissant.
I believe that. So did my pal Andy, just tell me the F off, Ken Pichelle wants to know?
I don't know. It depends on how you want to take that, Ken.
How many other plates of food poisoning did you wring out of that mustache? Whoa. That's from Fremder. Not too many know that Kurt Cobain was an artist by the way he painted the ceiling.
Jackson Pollock. Yep. Ha, 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 ha.
Yes. Andy is rolling today, says Ken Pichelle. Tony, I'd put my feet up on the desk and just listen to him go. Yeah, that actually was my thought a few minutes ago. I was going to put my foot up and then just let him go, man. I was ready. And I'm going to try and get him going again. If you tied his hands behind his back, I wonder if he could still talk. Look at that hand go. This is all from Fender.
Well, it's so funny because, like, how non-ethnic can Fremder possibly be? I barely use my hands to fucking talk. I'm no Italian.
Friday, April 14th, the one where Andy out F-bombed Tim Saliani. That actually might be, Ken Pichelle said that. That actually just might be true.
That's possible.
It's a good thing Andy's not the mailman.
Yeah, because they go postal.
Oh, okay. Ken Pichelle says this is epic. Andy gives that great face, says Vicky. Oh, yeah, Vicky's digging your face. It is a great face. That's what I'm saying. If I'm standing on line behind you, I'm not.
I need to get in front of that guy and into a conversation with him.
I'm not the guy that. I'm not always the one that starts the conversation, unless, like, if I was maybe just looking at the Ford F-150 or something, and I see you driving one and be like, "Hey, do you like that truck?" I did that when I had.
No, I hate it.
I did. I had a Ford before I had the truck I have now. I had those Ford Transits, which I ended up hating. But I was looking at buying one because they were cheap. And I'm checking it out, and then sure enough, I see a guy driving one, and we were in the parking lot. I was going to Ace Hardware. I was getting out. He gets out. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to ask him. And I did. I sparked the conversation. But I'm not always the one that sparks it. But if someone starts talking to me, I'll stand there and talk.
If I see you on the street and I don't know you, and actually a lot of you I do know, this applies to you too. Don't fucking say anything. Nothing.
Especially when he's high.
No, when I'm high, actually, that's probably the best time to get me. Cause
no, not at the holiday party.
Well, no, because you were trying to lay something on me, and I'm like, listen, I don't know who you think you're talking to right now, but this is high, Andy, and I'm not going to be able to fucking.
That's pretty much verbatim what you said.
I know what I say. I hate to say it, but that's my boilerplate. Like, I hope you didn't feel special that you thought I was only saying that I only said.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I was just shocked that I couldn't tell the difference. I pictured High Andy to be, like.
Well, it's funny because I think something since I was even very young, I look like I'm high all the time. Like, baseline. It's just true.
Okay.
You're just
all right.
used to
I don't
seeing me.
see that, but yeah.
And so when I do get high, they're like super high. People are like, "Oh my God, you're so baked." Like, look at you. And I'm like, I'm not actually that high right now. I just think I look more so.
Right.
Because I always look like I'm tired is kind of more the thing. And I am. And tired of you guys' bullshit of fucking saying shit to me when I don't want to.
Then you would go crazy in, like, well, I guess places like that. Like I've talked about it on here. I used to have family in Ohio, and I spent a lot of time in Ohio in
the Midwest?
my 20s.
Yeah, no,
I mean, the Midwest. You're walking down the street, everybody, hi, morning.
Sweet
hey.
people. They're sweet.
I loved it. I was like, hey!
But I don't want to fucking hear a fucking... like, shh. Like, I may look like I care, but I assure you I don't.
Surely there must have been at least one moment one instance.
Don't call me Shirley.
A hospital.
I couldn't
What
let
is
that
it?
go. I'm like, can I let that go? I don't think I can.
It must have been one time where somebody came up to you, and you enjoyed what you talked about, or you found it interesting. There was something good about it, and you're glad that person came up to you.
So I'm down with if I'm wearing my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy T-shirt, or I have other T-shirts that have like pretty obscure references, which is so sad to say Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is somewhat of an obscure reference, but it'll have some sort of reference on it. I even used to make my own T-shirts.
Yeah, I think I did that for a short time.
And like I have one that just says "missing" with exclamation points because I wanted it to be like a milk carton, like that I'm missing. And nobody usually gets it, but when people do get it and they go, "That's great," I go, "Okay, thank you. That's fine."
Okay.
But don't ask me a fucking question that requires other than yes, no, or thank you.
Before GPS, you hated when somebody asked you for directions?
Okay, so that like was a different because that would access a different like the ego part where it's like I do know where the fuck I am.
I'm going to show up what I know.
99.9% of the time though, I would say I don't even know where the fuck I am. I would say that to people. Like no clue.
Meanwhile, you're in Port Jeff Station.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, I know exactly. Like, hey, how do I get to the fucking Nichols Road? And it's like Nichols Road is right here. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm even more likely if there's a sign right next to me that tells people.
Oh, that yeah.
To go. No clue, man. I have no way of knowing either.
Oh, I do that all the time at when I'm Farmer Willie. So if I'm at my Farmer Willie stand, the bathrooms are down to my left, and if someone's walking from my right to my left. And they would ask me, where are the bathrooms? I would actually go, they don't have them here.
Since we're on this kick,
yeah,
you thought that you playing this fictional character was the same thing as me living my fucking life. I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, I guess it is different because I was getting paid by the hour.
Well, I'm not getting paid. I'm just fucking standing here. Or actually, one of my favorite things is not. Well, I'm sort of like men's amends when it comes to giving money to like homeless people or indigents, whatever. And they'll be like I walk out of a 7-Eleven and like, hey man, you can help me out. I need to get, especially by where I'm at because the train station is right there. I'm trying to get to this train, and I'll be like, I don't carry cash. Meanwhile, a fucking pocket full of fucking cash. But then sometimes, like there was a time in Astoria where I had family meal. I think it was somebody's 40-day mass. In the Greek church, if you die, there's a mass, funeral mass. But then 40 days later is the 40 days mass, and then you all have another big dinner and everything.
Oh, really?
It's actually kind of awesome. 40-day mass is awesome because it brings you back to like there was a lot of grief when the person passes away, but then 40 days later it's like
let's relive the grief.
Well, you've come to terms with it to a certain extent because some of the people are like inconsolable, right?
Right.
But now it's 40 days later and you get to see them.
I'm feeling the pressure of, I got to be better. It's the 39th day. I got to stop crying.
No, because
I've never heard of this.
It's like a month and a half. Like it's a month and a half.
Right, 40
it's
days.
enough time to fucking.
Oh, that was because we don't know math. So you had to explain that part.
Yeah, pretty much. I could tell by the dull look in your eyes that you were having a hard time with.
40 days.
40 days. I mean, how many months is that?
That's like a years.
How do you
that's
do
a
that?
long time.
How do you do that?
Other people have died in those years.
But 40-day mass is great. But we were at a 40-day mass dinner at this really great restaurant in Astoria, and there was parking around back, so I was parked back there. I went there, and this black dude's like, hey man, I need some help, and I was like, I was drunk, and I was like, 'cause, I was about to jump in my car, and I looked down, and I'm like, all I have is like 20s, so I took I think I was bartending at the time. So to me, like money didn't mean anything. And like I take $20 and I go, this is all I got. I said, but
you asked him for change.
No, I said, I want you to make a promise to me is that whatever you get with it, and I do not care. Trust me, I do not care. But that you are doing it towards a good thing. Like, I don't care what it is. If you want alcohol, as long as it's good alcohol. Like, enjoy yourself with this, please. And he, like, almost started crying, gave me this huge hug in the middle of this parking lot. And I'm like, all right, man. You know, like, he's like, thank you so much, thank you. And I'm like, dude, it's not about that. Like, we're both human beings here, man. We're both men.
So why aren't you saying fuck that guy? Like he got his sleazy
I was
homeless
hammered.
hands all over you.
I was fucking hammered.
All right, so that's the moral. Well, that's the point of the story. We have to get you drunk all the time so that you'll be
I
nice
either have
to
to
people.
be drunk or high for you to talk to me.
All right.
If I am not, shut the fuck up. That's it. It's not funny. It's not funny, Tony. I don't appreciate the laughter.
It's very funny. And I appreciate your anger making me laugh.
My daughters are always like, you're kind of sort of funnier when you're angry, but you're also scary.
Don't make me angry.
Yeah. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I'm a lot funnier when I'm angry.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. So you must hate the types of breakup fights too. You must hate those guys.
No, I'm somebody who breaks up. Well, if I know the people involved, I'll try.
Oh yeah, but even if they're strangers.
But if they're strangers, no, I'm fucking watching. It's a free show. And I'm just gonna stop and watch. And I'll be like, hit him, hit him. I'm that guy in high school.
Oh no, in high school I was always
in the back of
the
circle. I'd be like, hit him. Yo, he said something about your mom.
I was always the one trying to get in there. Come on, guys, stop.
Faggot.
I was, again, driving my phone company truck. I ended up living down there. I was on Wanta Avenue in Wanta. I was at a red light. I was in the right lane, and there was just a little strip of stores, and it was close to the curb, and there's a bar. These two guys come out, like, they must have been going at it in the bar. Like, they came out swinging. And they're getting really kind of close to my truck. So I'm like, all right, screw it. So I get out. I'm sitting right at the red light. I get out. I'm like, guys, I said, you're coming into the street. So I'm thinking they were drunk and they're not paying attention. Like, and they're going to get killed, hit by a car. So I'm like, guys, some girl starts yelling at me. Something, I don't even remember what she was yelling. Something about me breaking, like, don't break it up or leave them alone or something. And I said, look, I don't want any trouble. I don't want any problem. And at this point, I'm still standing right next to them. And they stop fighting. They hear what me and this girl are saying. I'm like, I don't want any trouble. I said, I just didn't want them coming close. Sure enough, one of the guys fighting. Boom! He pops me in the mouth. Yeah. I'm like, and I just literally went like this. I go, I'm out of here.
Right.
As I'm going to the truck, now this girl is following me. She's demanding money from me. I'm like, and now I'm thinking, holy shit, like, I'm going to get beat up by all these people here. And I just ran, and because at that time I could run.
No good deed goes
absolutely
unturned.
Right. I jumped in the truck. I took off. I think the light, it must have been already green, probably red again at this point. And I just took off, and I don't break up as many fights as I used to after that.
Dude, it's just been a universal truth. I remember since I'm a kid, like, don't get involved. The Kitty Genovese thing, which I know Tim likes to actually bring up as a reference sometimes.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's like, unless somebody comes to you and is like, "Hey, what happened there?" I'd be like, "All right, this is what fucking happened." But I'll call the cops. I'm cool with that too. But I'm not getting directly involved. I'm like, it's just there is too much of a danger to, like, having to, like, fucking talk to people more than I already have to.
There's a danger.
It is. Like, I hate, and I'll go back to, and this is one of those moments that I fucking hate, and I know I've told you this before. My ex-stepmother, may she rest in pieces. Her window wasn't working in her Hyundai, this late 80s Hyundai. And so we were on either the Garden State Parkway or the Jersey Turnpike. And at the time, tolls where you had to actually pay a person.
Or throw the change in the basket.
Yeah, this was like sort of, there were less of those change baskets at this point. Like, there was a lot more of just like handing the money to people. I don't know why they made that switch. But yeah, those always look like urinals to me.
Yes.
So I was sitting right behind her. And so I was the one who had to give the money. So here's the ticket and the money, and give me back the right fucking shit. Like, okay, like I'm going to try to fucking steal money from you in the backseat of your fucking car. And you're married to my dad. It's not like I can get away from you or whatever.
Right.
Fuck you. And so she gives me the money and the ticket, and I hand it to the lady. And she goes, "Oh my God, a real backseat driver!" and everybody in the car said, and she gives me the change, and I'm like, "Could you fucking go?" Like, I hate that.
Yeah,
happened.
that would annoy me.
And then we're just left with it. We do move on, and it's like they're all laughing, and I'm like,
right.
I'm glad everybody else has a fucking good time right now.
Right.
That fucking bitch was like, "Oh,
yeah, but see, I would make fun of that too. I would make fun out of that too. I would like overly laugh, or I would say something stupid back.
Well, I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time. Like, I wasn't as quick, but I was like,
Right. When I first started driving, me and my brother went to McDonald's, and this was also when drive-thrus were becoming bigger. Like drive-thrus were always around,
but there was there was a point where
most restaurants didn't have them back then. So of course, Mr. Originality, I made some kind of like, I don't know, sexual remark, with being next to the speaker there. I don't even remember what I said. Oh, you know what? I said something about, I think they said something about blowjobs or something. But I didn't know the thing was on because nobody said, "Hi, can I help you?" or anything.
Right.
Sure enough, the voice comes on the thing. "What did you say?" And my brother and I look at each other.
I guess we're going to the next one.
I just said, "I didn't say anything." She goes, "I heard you." I'm like,
well, then why did you ask me what I fucking said?
Right.
See, to me, that's where I like, because I don't like, I get caught up, and it's something that I'm sort of realizing that I don't know if it's an ADHD or something, but like people will say shit and I lock in on something that they said,
right,
and I can't let go of it.
Oh, I do the same thing. Sally used to kill me when
I'll have to stop people and be like, "Wait, did you mean?"
When someone says, I was with my buddy when I was 10 and he was 12 at the time. He was older than me at the time. Like, yeah, he still is.
Right.
I get smacked every time.
Well, I mean more like sort of like there's a different complete meaning to what you've just said.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or like
I'm not that deep.
People mix metaphors, and I'll go, "Do you actually mean?"
Right.
And then I don't think I mean no, because there's another one, and I get so sidetracked with people's conversations. Like, that's why Winchell and I are both awesome together and horrible together, because Winchell just is like firing shit out of his mouth constantly, and I'll be like, "Wait a second, that one that you just said."
Right,
and then he'll be like, and we end up going down some road that's like.
You're gonna have fun here next week.
Next week.
We got Linda Marcus Smith and Helene Witt sitting in here.
Linda,
with
I
us.
love both of those ladies. They're very.
We're gonna have a good time with them.
I'm a fan of both.
There's gonna
are we still on?
Yeah, there's gonna be group sex going on, I think. From their drive-thrus,
those hips.
Drive-thrus are great, except be careful you don't want to go to a smash burger, then In-N-Out, because you might end up with a Carl Jr.
Yeah, except from Hardee's ain't really here.
I miss Hardee's.
That was the great thing about, like, we didn't stop it when we did stop at a Bojangles, which was like, this is just fucking sadness in a building.
I don't even know what that is. What's a Bojangles?
It's fried chicken. It's a southern.
I'm
there you don't really have that many KFCs. Like, it's Bojangles. Bojangles is the primary fried chicken. Ken will probably, if he's still on, if his ears aren't bleeding.
Hello, Carol Miner.
Hello, Carol.
Hope you're well. I saw what did I see your son post? Where is he? I want to say like some kind of shit.
Oh, good.
It was like, is he doing some kind of military thing or something? What's he doing, Carol? Help me out.
Doing a fire academy. She helped you.
Oh, thank you. Fire academy. I knew it was something.
Carol. Jesus Christ.
Bowberry biscuits.
Bowberry biscuits.
The
biscuits are good.
All right.
And that's what, like, I ended up getting a couple of sausage biscuits for breakfast one day.
Yeah, you did.
And then my wife's like, "This is all fried." Yeah, welcome to the South. And she's like, she got just like a box of biscuits. and then they're just talking about Buc-ee's.
Yeah, I see that. Ken Pichel's son went to Buc-ee's. And you haven't been there yet. Actually, isn't it close to you, Ken? Isn't there one close to you? Or they're building one close to you? Yeah. Carol's coming up. Oh, that reminds me, Carol. Oh, Carol. I owe you an apology.
Carol.
Yeah, sorry.
Carol.
Carol, you called me like a week ago, and I totally no excuse. I just totally forgot to call you back. My apologies. Carol's going to be up here sometime in May.
May the day never come.
Oh, my goodness. Don't say that. She'll bring Buc-ee's.
There was a friend of mine who used to, his last name was Short, and he was a tall dude. So it was always,
Martin?
No. And he was tall. And he was a bus driver for the Air Force. Like, he worked in the Transportation Squadron. Amazing. I rode in a couple of times. He was in one of the Bluebirds, and just the guy had just the feel for a big truck like that, or a big bus like that. But Short would be like, he'd been dating his girlfriend for years at that point, and people would ask him like, "Hey, Short, when are you gonna get married?" Right? And he'd go, "May," and they go, "Oh, May what?" "May the day never come." Or we picked a day. "Oh, what date?" "June 31st. Like, he always had like these ways of saying, "I'm never gonna get fucking married."
So Carol, make sure you come in here one day while you're in town. And speaking of weddings, I don't know if I've seen you since. And I think I brought this up once already on the show. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I brought it up once already. So if I'm in trouble, I'm already in trouble. Guess who is officiating Don Sill's wedding?
Hopefully somebody cool.
No. No, it's me.
And I figured the way you were fucking acting.
Joey Petroni is DJing, and I'm officiating the wedding. This is going to be a fun day.
When is he get married?
June 13th. It's a Tuesday.
Wow. I knew he was cheap. Like, I got to tell you, I knew he was a cheap prick. But that's really cheap.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. That's good, though. Fuck everybody, like, having to do fucking weekends and, like, Friday, Saturday, people got to travel. Well, whatever. Have it on a Tuesday. Like,
wow, those chicken wings really.
Yeah, no, this changed my brain structure.
Yeah, Carol Miner's saying that too. Who gets married on a Tuesday?
See you next Tuesday.
Yes, that's what I was saying before. Me and Don Sill, we might be taking a trip to North Carolina ourselves.
Oh, neat.
Comic Sans has been accepted into a film festival down there in North Carolina, and I don't remember the name of the festival. My apologies.
So it's official now?
It is official, yes.
Okay, cool.
It has been accepted, and it looks like I'm going to go. It's still not cemented, but it looks pretty good. Like, me and Don are actually going to travel together, and then Zach is going to come with us too. I
have you ever hung out in that section of North Carolina?
I have. I've only been in North Carolina once, and it was actually. I took a plane. It was. I went down there once to meet Sally's father.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he actually lived. I think he lived in South Carolina, but the airport is in North.
Well, there are a couple of airports in South Carolina, but they are more regional than anything.
Right.
Like RDU is a hub for somebody.
And I believe, you would know because we go to the airport and then we drove through Myrtle Beach and then we were in South Carolina. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Well, Myrtle Beach is South Carolina.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
It is one of the more northern parts of South Carolina on the coast. There's a little bit of a stretch before you get to North Myrtle Beach, but it's maybe 20 minutes on a highway.
Right. But that's my only time in North Carolina, just landing in the airport and then driving.
Then going to South Carolina.
He was just outside of Myrtle Beach somewhere. Right. So yeah, that's the only time I've ever been there. Right. So yeah, I couldn't tell you anything. Don lived down there for 18 years, 16 years. So he's gonna. He's looking forward to going. He's going to see a lot of old friends. He's going to introduce me. Don, he did all right down there because he stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, he looks like a typical New Yorker. So whenever movies, there's a big comedy scene down there, and there's a big film scene. A lot of people making independent movies. So he was cast in a lot of movies as the tough New York guy. So he got a lot of work down there. Right. So he got to know a lot of people. So, he's really excited about it. And I've seen a bunch of his films, so I'm looking forward to meeting. He worked with a lot of the same people on some films, so there's certain people I'm looking forward to actually meeting. Plus, it'll be just fun to see how the movie's received, and like I said, I think Zach's going to come, so that'll be fun.
Cool.
North Carolina, ugh, says Ken Pichelle. That's far away from me now. Yeah. I love going to South Carolina, says Fremder. Ken Pichelle, I met Don Sill 3 minutes from my house in North Carolina. It was the best. We were in TV together. That's right. Geography is definitely Tony's superpower. What, because I've never been there? I haven't lived all over the place like you have, Carol. I'm not on the run like you are. Charlie Goodnight's Comedy Club in Raleigh. Right, yes, that's... And is there another place? I think there's another place Don talks about, too, where Brian McGinnis now is, which I want to get Brian McGinnis on Zoom and talk about how he's enjoying living down there and hearing about the comedy scene. He just recently, did something with Neil Rubenstein down there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. You didn't know Brian, right?
I only through, I think I only met him once, like on a green room show.
Oh, okay.
And they only came in for a couple of minutes.
Right. Yeah, right. I remember that, yes.
Speaking of a couple of minutes.
With Pontillo. Really?
I made it this far.
That doesn't count.
Diabetes!
Fremder, Neil Rubenstein is a good dude. That's right, yeah.
Yes.
Fremder, when he came to see me at the bar show that time, Rubenstein was there. So, yeah. Yeah. So that looks like we're gonna go down there. Looking forward to that. That'll be fun. Comic Sans, baby. All right. So anyway, now that he's gone, I could talk about this Brooke Shields thing, so he doesn't get mad. Did any of you guys see this thing? I actually found it kind of interesting. She's had kind of a weird life, that Brooke Shields, and she really doesn't. Best of luck, pee break. Should I just sit here in silence? All right. He takes very quick pees, so I'm just going to sit here.
No paper towels.
I just sat here in silence until you came back. There's no paper. There haven't been paper towels in there in a few days.
Being angry makes me have to pee.
Vicky met Brooke Shields when they filmed Endless Love. She was very nice. How did you meet her? What's the story there? Were you stalking her? Caroline and I. She saw the Brooke Shields thing. She liked it. She forgot how many movies she was in. Yeah. So I was saying that. She's had kind of a weird life, that Brooke Shields.
Absolutely.
But what surprised me is that she really just doesn't have much. She doesn't really seem to have any regret with doing those nude scenes when she's a kid.
Let it go.
I just thought that was really strange, and it's definitely and they talked about it at the end. They were saying how today, unfortunately, things aren't really that much better. I mean, you couldn't make a pretty girl, a pretty baby movie like she'd made. You couldn't make that now, but they still showed like ads and stuff where you see like these young girls, full makeup and sexy outfits and cigarettes. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I do find it very disturbing. But I don't know. To me, like they showed a lot of interview clips and stuff where this poor girl looks scared to me. But
well, see, that's why when she went into her whole. My wife. So.
Oh, everything all right?
Well, that's one never does know. That's wrong.
Maybe did she see you had to go pee and she's concerned? Are you all right?
It's
Andy?
a real.
Are you all right, honey bunny?
Yeah, that's hilarious. The part where you're implying that she might actually be watching,
or that she even cares about something possibly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she doesn't know where I am right now, and probably doesn't particularly care.
Does she have a nickname for you? Hun?
No, not really. I don't think
Stud?
So. I call her Lefty.
Lefty. That's
she's left-handed,
romantic.
And it's but yeah, she. I mean, she does tell me that I'm making sex face when I am playing games. There are games on my. Apparently, this is my.
That's your sex face.
Near as I can figure, because that's what I like. Anytime she's like, "Oh, making sex face on your," and I'm like.
See, this is messed up because I know the next time I'm having sex, I'm going to be reminded of that.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah.
and have your lady call you Andy.
You heard that the other day, huh?
Well, I've been using that
Oh.
since I was a kid.
Oh.
Since Clerks.
Yes.
Because it was a line in Clerks. So
Right.
ever since I saw Clerks, I've always said that have your old lady call you Andy.
They have me to thank for that. That movie came out, what, 93?
Something like that.
So I think it was 1990, I believe, or 91. I told the story just the other day on the show. That's what I thought you were referring to. A buddy of mine, when I worked, at that time, I worked at Publishers Clearinghouse.
No, when you told that story, it made me
Oh, she did hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, all right. Vicky said they filmed part of that movie in Seacliff, which is here on Long Island. I did not know that. They had the fire department on call the whole time, and my dad was a firefighter at the time. The cast was really cool. Oh, okay. Ken Pichelle. Oh, he wanted me to do ads, I guess. But boo to trashy ads that give ads a bad reputation.
Well, like my 1877 Cars for Kids?
Exactly, yes.
Or
my wife gives good headache. Nickname Drac. Does she call you Drac?
no, God no. That's it. I'm telling you right now, she forgets every week that I'm going to the open mic on Monday.
Oh, really?
Every week.
Where are you going?
It's yes. All right. Dinner's gonna get pushed to 7. I'm like, all right. Well, I'll just grab something over at the mic. Oh, you're going to that? Like I have.
That little
Lockdown aside.
Yeah.
Every Monday for 6 years now. In June it'll be 6 years. Every Monday.
She's still waiting for that comedy phase to grow out of.
She actually literally said, because I did the whole thing where I'm like, oh, I got I have the show in Huntington, and I love all the people that are involved there, and and then I'm gonna shoot down to Billy's. I'm telling her a whole thing, and she goes, "You really like this comedy thing?" That was a week ago. That was last week. That was last Friday. She said,
That's
"You really
fantastic.
seem to like this, or love it." She even said, "You really seem to love this comedy thing." I'm like, I guess you could put it that way. 6 years later.
my first marriage. She told me, she came to see me. I was doing children's theater at the time. She came to see me. I know.
That's illegal now.
And she told me after that she thought I was awful. And I was like, oh, so you're saying you don't think I have what it takes to be a good actor? She said, actually, no, I don't.
Who knew that she was that right? Still true to this day.
If she only
That's
knew.
amazing.
But I did. I gave
And
up.
you let that one go, huh?
I did. I didn't do anything for 7 years.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I was.
That's not cool. Like,
it wasn't cool.
in a very real way. That's not cool.
And then she got mad at me when I decided to get back into it.
See that?
Yeah.
See, my wife was like, well, every now and then would be like, why don't you do comedy? Because Terry McNeely was part of my friend group when I bartended.
Right.
And I met him when I first got home from the Air Force. Like even before I was out of the Air Force, before I went to Kuwait. Like it was it was the Thanksgiving after September 11th.
Right. Okay.
It was when I first met Terry. And then I knew Terry for several years before he started comedy. And I was like, I kept saying to myself, dude, I should just call Terry and see what I need to do. Like what things suggestions he has and everything. And I just never did, which I really kicked myself for. But my wife knew that I always was into it because she knew the stories of when I first got out. Well, when I was still in the Air Force and doing theater, coming out of the Air Force and doing the improv in the city. And it was pretty much when I met her that I was starting to cool with that and had been doing it for about 2 years at that point.
Right.
And so I was like, and so you know what? I'm living my life out here. I'm bartending. I'm just going to try to drink my life away. It's true. And so, yeah, coming to it as late as I did and then her being like, you should do it. You should do that. You should do that. And then I start doing it and she's like, why are you always doing this? I'm like, because I have to.
Right.
Like it is
definitely.
It's so weird. I always like with everything. Whenever people go like, I have to do it for me, like anything, right? I'm playing hockey, doing comedy, doing anything. Like I just have to. I'd always be like, fuck you. Like that's so no, you don't. You just want to. But now that I've done and that's why stand-up was different than everything else. Because now it's like this compulsion of like, no, I have to go out. I have to get better.
Right.
Like I have to get better. Not that that's working at all.
Well,
no, it's like coming up with new stuff and helping other people with their stuff. Like I really do enjoy like discussing comedy with other comedians and like got to talk to Rich Walker.
Sorry,
we were all and because again at the Broken Mic when he was a panelist, he goes, Andy, you know I love you. I love your the character that you do up there. I just love you. You said fuck 5 times. He's looking. He actually counted how many times I said fuck in 3 minutes.
Wow.
And
that's a guy I don't think he's ever cursed on stage. That guy.
No, he's and I've seen him and he even had cops to it. Like there's occasion that he's like I will. It depends on the room and whatever, but generally I try not to. But I told him I'm like look at because he goes I'm real sorry. I'm like Rich, holy shit, like you've been doing this forever, and if I'm any kind of artist, I need to be able to examine myself.
Oh, right, yes.
And break me up and reassemble me to be hopefully better. And so I'll take that to heart. And I've been trying all of my sets. I'm getting a little bit better and a little bit better of not actually cursing during my set.
Really?
Yeah. No. And I
now you say that the Long Beach show, you didn't really. I don't think you did at all.
No, because that was one of the first ones where I was really like...
None of us did. So I remember Teddy doing it, and actually Laura too, and I remember being like, oh. Like all of a sudden it hit me. It's like, oh yeah, nobody's cursing today.
Well, it's not even like I'm not even paying attention to other people with it. Like it's this is about me. I need to...
Sorry, it's all about you.
It is. Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you. Finally.
Have you tried to break up yourself and reassemble so that you like talking to people?
No.
You should. No, that should be next.
No. It's fuck people, first of all.
Fremder says, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I get told I'm awful, just like I was told, but he gets told every Monday through Friday except Wednesdays.
Yeah. Well, Ken, the reason why I said it 86 times today is because I'm not doing stand-up.
Carol,
this is regular me. Like, you know
yes,
that.
It is. I do know that.
I can't not curse, like, in regular conversation.
Right.
Like, I know I do. And it's funny because I feel like, I played football. Then I joined the Air Force. And in the Air Force, I was in aircraft maintenance.
You're a stud.
That it's like, but it's all of these, and I have a bit that I've been working on for such a long time, but it's like all of these things that are like, they're all cursing, like people who stereotypically curse.
Right.
And so you get that, like, but it's like coffee. Everybody does it. I
don't.
I'm trying to think who on here has, Ken, you're a statistician, biostatistician. Aren't you guys known for drinking coffee? Like cops, nurses, teachers, actors, ditch diggers, fucking everybody drinks coffee, okay? Like I hate when people like, well, I'm a teacher, so obviously I love coffee. Like, no, you're a human being, you asshole, who has a taste for fucking coffee. Like you.
Yeah, I never really understood that.
It has nothing to do with your job, your master status, which I know in America.
Master status.
We adhere to these master statuses like it's our fucking job, which it is. That's actually what that means. Like people just like, well, I remember the first time, and you know what, this is a shout out to Mike Keegan, because I was part of the We Stand with Mike Keegan. I watched the Conversations, and I hope it's not going to come up because it was late summer, because we the next day after Theater 3 banned him, we played a softball game at Jones Beach, like a bunch of comedians,
right,
and then we went out to eat afterwards, and we were talking about it like the whole time. And like I have a couple of statuses that are hashtag I stand with Mike Keegan. Because like and I don't necessarily agree. Like I politically we're not aligned.
Right.
But I am a strong adherent of everybody should be allowed to say whatever they want.
Oh yeah.
But you
Agreed.
also need to be ready for the fucking criticism.
Right.
Like to say that something is maybe stupid or it didn't make sense or whatever.
Especially when it comes to Keegan, because he's stupid.
I'm not even talking about Keegan at this point. But but it was a fuck. I don't even remember why I was. Oh, because of the coffee thing, right? But that's it. I was reading an article. Jeff Sanzel is the name of the artistic director at Theater 3, and he's been that since approximately 1990.
Wow.
Because that was when I was in high school, and we used to borrow a lot of their costumes for our productions, and we would have to go down there and like, oh, you're so great, and but he in this article, in the Times Port Jeff Times record, it's like Q&A with Jeff Sanzel, artistic director at Theater 3, and I'm reading it, and it's like. He's like, well, I'm an actor, so I love coffee. Like, shut up, you fucking dick. Like, everybody loves coffee. If you don't like coffee, great. Good for you. This isn't about you, so stop bringing that shit up. I'm talking about the people who say, I love coffee, and I'm a truck driver, so you know I love coffee. Yes, you're a human being. You breathe.
So I'm a comedian. If I'm you talking, I'm a comedian, so I
love Coke.
With that, it's time to go. Who needs a dictionary? Orthosaurus
or a thesaurus when you
or a thesaurus when you could just watch the show on Friday.
Yeah, Andy, you need a fucking thesaurus yourself. I guess the autocorrect isn't enough for Andy Fremder.
Wow. All right, everybody enjoy your weekend.
No,
and if you see Andy, don't talk to him.
No, have a fucking miserable time, you pieces of shit.
Has anybody ever come up to you because they recognize you from a comedy show?
No, the only time was that I got that free joint at the weed show.
See, there you go.
I was like, I love your drag.
Yeah, see, that was okay, wasn't it? Because he gave you a joint.
Well, I was asking him questions about his job.
Right. So he gave you a joint, meaning, get the fuck away from me. Take this joint, get away.
I will anger smoke that fucking joint every day of the week.
You got anything this weekend?
No, not this weekend. I'm probably just going to hang out at shows. I may end up going up tonight, but it would only be if they have space and I feel like it.
Live from Governor's Green Room. Me and Don will be here tomorrow night. If you feel like it, come on down.
Well, tomorrow night is that roast battle. I want to go see Billy in a roast. Well, it's not even a battle; it's just a roast, but Billy's gonna have some sick shit.
Yeah, that's cool. Don and I will be here tomorrow night. I don't know who's even playing the main room, but we're gonna be here. A friend of ours, Jay Yoder, is a comedian out of Philly. He's a friend of ours. He's gonna. I haven't heard from him. He told me he was going to be here, but hopefully he's still coming in.
Cool.
But anyway, nice Don guy. And I will be here.
Very funny.
Yeah, very funny guy. Go to govs.com if you'd like to see Joe Matarese or Chris Monti, Gasper Randazzo. If you'd like to see the ladies of General Hospital for an 80s dance party, Justin Silver, Kevin Downey Jr., Jessica Colazzo, Tom McGuire, Jason Pellini, Brian Paul, Addison Persky, Linda Marcus Smith. You can see any of those people on the governor's stage this weekend. Go to govs.com. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com and see what we got going on. We are in Amityville next weekend. We're at 317 Main in Farmingdale next weekend as well. That meatball place, May 10th. So that's coming up. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com for info. And that's it. And I don't know if there's conversations tonight. Don hasn't sent me one. He hasn't sent me one to post. So I don't know if he's doing one tonight or not. But we're definitely here for Green Room tomorrow. So we'll see you then, and then we'll see you on Monday. This Monday, I do believe we have Tony Schiarano and Steve Beery and all those crazy people coming in again.
Oh, cool.
Right? Is that this? That's the 17th. Yeah. Tuesday, Hugh will be here. Next Thursday, Brandon will be here. And my buddy Rob Notaro, who's been here a few times, he wants to come in. He's got this there's this new program out people are doing all over the place where they take music and they can separate the tracks, so they'll add and delete. So he's going to come in and play me like bass guitar lines and drum beats and see if I can guess what song it is. So we figured that'd be fun. Next Friday, Linda Marcus Smith and Helene Witt will be trying to get Andy naked.
They don't have to try.
And Ken
I'm going to be naked.
And next Wednesday, of course, as Ken Pichelle points out, Jessica Kierson. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow for Green Room. See you guys later.